I'm good.
Okay. I'll try this one today.
No, it says we don't. Now we do. All right, the sound is working. Hello, everyone. It's been a month since we've last had to do this, so I'm trying to get used to new equipment, new everything else. We look a lot shinier tonight, I'm noticing.
Yeah.
But welcome to our top rope spoilers for Money in the Bank, hence the briefcases. You know, the lovely ladies are showing off. Well done, well done. But as for those of you who have taken the time to watch our show before, this is our preview and prediction show in terms of us being able to discuss the premium live event coming up, give our thoughts on the matter, and then provide you with our predictions. The community page on our YouTube is available for you to be able to place in your votes at this time. So definitely make sure you take the time to go onto our YouTube channel, still add on the ring apron, and cast your votes. Ladies, it's been almost a month since we've done this. How are we feeling? Did we enjoy the R&R away for a little bit? And are we excited for a Saturday afternoon premium live event?
I got a month older, and yeah, that's how I feel. I feel a little bit older and a little bit like broken, like bones.
And not beat down.
1 month older. Good Lord.
Beat down and
Busted up.
Life just keeps kicking them in the rear.
Kicking it. I enjoyed the R&R. I'm not gonna lie.
You know, a little time
We're
away.
really busy people.
We are. You know, sometimes it's tough to find time to do all of this. But it is what it is, and we move forward. So we'll go ahead.
I have a question.
Now?
Yes, now, of course. I always have a question. Someone's got to answer them. Jeez.
I've learned she never has more questions than when she does than when a camera is pointed right at her.
Hey. So I work on Saturday. Does it start while I'm working?
3 o'clock. Eastern time.
Oh, no, I'll be home. Never mind.
You hope you're home.
I'll be home because if I'm working with Tatiana, it'll be like 1:25.
Wonderful. Maybe don't mention your boss's name while you're on that.
That's not my boss.
Let's not mention
Shout
her.
out to you, girl.
Whoever you are. Hopefully you're watching. There you go. Tell her you can tell her she got a shameless shout out. Hashtag.
Woot, woot.
Let's show the scoreboard here real quick. For those of us who are keeping score, and that would be me. We did all right during the last events almost a month ago. We had, of course, Night of Champions from Saudi Arabia, and then we also had NXT Battleground. And once again, it was Kia leading the way, her getting 10 total through that premium live event. Alyssa also getting 10 to help her maintain her distance with Kia. She still trails by 2. I only got 8, so I'm now 5 behind. I'm right now, but hey, we're still very early. You know me, I'll catch up eventually. The OTRA's also doing well. They got 9 themselves, so they are within 4 of Kia and sitting in 3rd place. So definitely make sure your vote's heard. Still very close so far. Ooh, so try not to hiccup or burp there. Never mind, I just went and did it. So go ahead and get it out of the way. That's it.
Otraville for our Otras. That's where they live.
Oh, good grief. We're going to create a little me village for them?
Like, who? Like,
this is when I need that other camera.
Whoville.
This is when I need that other camera.
We need to get that. We're going to do that dual camera. Join us for the watch along, by the way, on Saturday. We're going to try to activate this whole 2-camera thing and see if we can make it work. But let's get to our first pick here. First of all, let me put the little countdown meter because God forbid we'll talk for 25 minutes if you don't let us. But you got ladies can put the briefcases away. We'll pull the belts up as we need them, but they will. Don't worry, they'll come back into play a little bit later. But we're going to open with the first match, which is for the Undisputed Women's Tag Team Championships, as the now undisputed tag champs of Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler will defend against the team that never lost the championships, the team of Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan.
I was not more excited to see her come back than I was, because I was like, okay, Raquel, I feel like could defend the title by herself, because she's a big girl, she's a big tall girl, a big strong girl, but I feel like...
Don't tap me, I'm getting there.
I feel like in that moment, when Shayna decided to pop open her mouth and said, well, you said we, who is we defending against? Here come Liv.
I mean, she even said we never lost, but can we comment a minute on the platform shoes that Liv wore out there? She picked up about 5-6 inches. She looked like she got up there. I know, with respect, Shayna Baszler I know is not the tallest woman on the planet, but at the same time, she's no slouch either. She's got a bit of decent height on her, but Liv, standing a full eye and forehead ahead of over Shayna was kind of like.
Glad to have you back, Liv.
But either way, them getting an opportunity to fight now for the championships they never lost. Of course, the championships now meaning a little bit more. It's the NXT tag team titles have now been fused in with the women's championships. As Ronda and Shayna were able to successfully beat the team of Isla Dawn and Alba Fire on SmackDown 2 weeks ago.
They barely got that win.
They did, but they did manage to get it. So now it looks like the women's tag titles have been fused together. There's no word, at least through NXT, as to how that's going to end up panning out or if they're even going to come back. But at this stage, they're calling it the Undisputed Women's Tag Championships. And also, amidst the spirits of everything else, maybe a new belt coming. It's been a few years. You got to think that premiered right before 35.
So they've replaced everything else.
They might as well keep
Why
it
not?
going.
I get it.
Well.
So we'll open with Kia here because she's the one in the lead. We're not giving our picks yet, but just your general thoughts on this match and either of the teams.
So before I get started, I am highly upset that Isla and Fire lost the NXT titles. I feel like they literally had that match won, and I can't remember because I'm old and my brain's totally not working. I don't know how it ended or why it ended the way it did, but I was highly upset, and I didn't. I'm kind of soured on Ronda for obvious reasons, but I'm not going to let that be known why. I'm still high on Shayna. I feel like Shayna is still cool, but not to be following in, Ronda's, shadow, because that's exactly what's happening right now. And then on the flip side, like I said, I'm glad to have Liv back. And I'm glad Raquel has her partner back, because I feel like Ricochet and Braun Strowman, this was the better Big and Little.
Big and Little ball?
Yeah, that's it. But they actually have hair.
This is the best. Well, gosh, I hope so.
And
no disrespect, but yeah, far prettier. All the hair is down here on them, and it's all up here on them. Alyssa, any thoughts to these particular teams?
No, I'm just playing.
So this is going to be a very boring next 3 minutes looking at us while we wait for the clock to run out.
Little jokey joke. No, I wasn't a fan of I was not a fan of Ronda and Shayna winning. And it's nothing against them, it's just like storyline wise, like you could have done so much more if you put it on the other two. You could also push them so much further too.
You really could.
Now I feel like they're about to just be like
mid-card.
Well, now you just wonder, or are they going to split them up and have them go singles? This has a certain old man's fingerprints all over. Let's just say what it is, okay?
Vince. It has Vince's fingerprints. Let's be honest, people.
I was about to say, and I'm tired of seeing Shayna live in Ronda's shadow.
Yeah,
me too. You have your own thing. Come on to your thing when it's you fighting. And then also, I hate how y'all have talked Shayna up for years. Y'all have been like, oh, that girl came out there, she was like, boom, boom, bang, bang.
NXT
now she over
Shayna
here
is very different than main roster Shayna.
It really is.
I was about to say, now I look at Shayna and I'm just like, I feel like, and I'm saying this all over the world, but I feel like it's a joke right now. Because you're just in Ronda's pocket. You're living there rent free, happy in her pocket. And I'd like to see her step out and do her own thing.
Trust me, knowing you, Alyssa, you've probably already gone back and seen a couple of matches where Shayna has been in beast mode. It's not what we're seeing, and it's not what we're liking. And also, Fire and Alba, I feel like honestly, you brought them up from NXT, and I saw big.
Fire and Alba are the same person.
Yeah, that's, I mean, you know what I meant. Alba, Fire, and Isla Dawn. I felt like you brought them up from NXT, and I thought there were gonna be big plans for them, and now you just kind of put them in the middle of the pack, and I hope they don't be mid card.
Let's take the rug and y'all.
Right, yank.
Would y'all say that a fair comparison for Shayna on the men's side would be like old Baron Corbin? Like, just come out there and handle your business. And
Oh, that's a great
That's a good one.
That's a
Give me
great
5.
comparison.
Yes, ma'am.
Well done. And how about, just side note real quick before we get to our picks, how about Baron yesterday? Coming back out as lone wolf. I don't care whether he lost to Carmelo. Both guys won out despite the result of that match. Baron comes out looking better because of this.
Absolutely. He ain't a joke no more, to me.
Thank you. Exactly what I was going to say. I feel like, honestly, this Baron had way more success than when he came to main roster. Are we noticing a trend when you get to main roster?
In a main roster, I feel like there's like more people but less opportunity.
Yeah, that's pretty much, that's exactly what it is.
It absolutely does.
Because you have so many people that come up and you're sitting here and you're trying, I'm sorry for spitting on you if I spit on you. You're trying to find out, you know, who's going to be top tier, who's going to be middle of the card, who's going to be bottom rung, and who's going to be fired.
Oh, yeah,
and I feel like when you brought Baron up, you had him in his wolf persona, his lone persona, for a little minute, and then you turn him into Happy Corbin, Joke Corbin. No.
You had him win the Andre the Giant Battle Royal at WrestleMania for his opening match on the main roster.
And then didn't it
like
destroy
and it didn't do a thing for him after that.
I know it destroyed his
You've had
career.
him win Money in the Bank, ironically, where we're at, and fail. You know, so it is what it is. And we weren't supposed to talk about him for an hour or for a minute and 15 full seconds.
Well, it's fine. We did.
Either way, we're now at 0. We were supposed to have our picks in by now, so we got to do better. This is why these things go an hour. So shame on all of us. You see, this is why we go on a clock. We're going on a tangent. Kia, you're in the lead.
Excuse me.
After you're done burping, you can tell us who you're going to pick.
I hope y'all all felt that side eye, because that's what he got. It's a head heart pick. Honestly, I love Raquel and I love Liv, and I would like them to win. But if they just put those titles on Ronda and Shayna, I don't see Ronda and Shayna. I mean, I think they've literally, as much as you don't like to like them, they've run through everybody in like the locker room, like breaking like bones and legs and arms and everything like that. I feel like they're gonna have to be my pick. Not because I want them to be, but it's just the smart choice to go because again, you just took the titles off Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. Oh, I hope they play a role in that match. But go ahead, I'm sorry.
Alyssa, you're in second.
It's like everything is pointing for me to take Ronda and Shayna just because you know the backstory to it and all that. But it's like the other two didn't lose it. They didn't, you know. So it's like another Undisputed. So it's like that's why I need my own camera right here. Second.
So we can have a Alyssa cam while
Y'all
she's
can see
making
my
her
face,
pick.
my face, but you know.
Oh my god, that'd be funny.
Sorry.
This would be great.
I'm gonna go Shayna and Ronda. You don't cause that big old fuss and then only have 2 title defenses.
That's word for word why I'm taking them as well. You know, the big backstage hoopla of how this happened to start with, and also you know it just seems like it's a little too convenient. It's like okay, Liv's back. Let's give them their rematch, get it over with, then we'll move forward. You needed something there. You know, I like Ronda and Shayna here. I think they've done too much backstage politics for them to have them drop it at this point. Don't get me wrong. I will jump for joy if Liv and Raquel get it done again.
I was about to say, I feel like anybody else, they would pat the other person who sat there and said something like, "Oh, I want this or I'm gonna walk." I feel like anybody else, they would just pat their head and be like, "All right, you got your little run, go on," and then they put it back on there
later.
I feel like since it's Ronda, then
exactly. Let's move to match 2 because now we're behind on the timetable of this. Well, that's what we do. That's how our show goes.
This is what you get when I put in valuable feedback. Sorry.
The belt's gone. Let's move to match 2. This one has turned into a bit of I'm going to say a battle of respect versus disrespect, as Judgment Day's Dominik Mysterio will have his first live event one-on-one match as he goes head-to-head with the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes. Now, Rhodes only taking a single defeat prior to his loss to Roman Reigns. Of course, he lost to Brock, has evened the score. So he's still waiting on Brock to answer that challenge. But in the meantime, it's been Dominik Mysterio, who seems to be the one member of Judgment Day that's kind of, you're not really sure where he's going or what he's doing, but because he gets to hide behind the women's world champ, Mommy, he gets to do a lot of barking, and now Cody's going to see if he can do some biting too. Cody, meanwhile, still also, of course, wrestling with the broken left arm that he lost to the Kimura against Brock a couple of weeks ago. So, not operating at 100%, but in, of course, ironic Cody fashion, still undefeated since he broke his arm. So, Alyssa, we'll start with you on this one. Even with Cody fighting with a broken arm, is Dom bitten off more than he can chew here?
I think so. I personally think he's bitten off more than he can chew. And I think he also knows that he's bitten off more than he can chew, because why do you sit over there, get your cute little slap in, and then run? That man be moving faster than me when I see food. Like, please.
Ooh.
And that makes two of us, because I'm right behind you.
Come on now.
I'm right behind you.
This don't happen on accident. All right, come on now. We eat in this house.
Thank you. But no,
we had good broccoli, chicken, cheese casserole, y'all. Alyssa made it. It was chef's kiss.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Jeez.
I thought you were like
10 seconds on live television and live stream, and I'm getting hung out to dry.
I thought he was hoorahing. It was so good. My stomach's so happy.
Yeah.
Grey's Anatomy, period. But no, in all seriousness, I feel like he knows that he's bit off more than he can chew too. So I'm excited for this whooping.
Whooping that's coming, right? Yeah.
I am going to say, as much as he crawls and he gets under my skin, he's to me probably one of the best heels that you have outside of Roman. This man can literally walk out and the first thing you're going to hear is a bunch of boos. He don't have to say nothing, and then when he starts talking, they get louder and louder and louder. Let me tell you something. I'd rather have a loud boo pop than nothing, like Natalya had that one time she was wrestling. But that's neither here nor there. I feel like Dom, he takes his cheap shots and then he runs and he hides behind Mommy. And
a great heel move.
And even if he doesn't, the moment he takes his cheap shot on anybody, whoever he's facing, she jumps in front and she's always there to defend, which I like that. Have a good woman who got your back and your front.
Don't be the first, but I'm curious how much longer are they going to let that go before eventually he's going to run up against a guy who actually will take a swing on Rhea. They've already had the stare-off between Rhea and Solo. So you're just waiting on someone who's going to be like, I don't give a damn if you're a woman. If you're
everyone.
Exactly. Let's go.
But also, I'm looking
at Bream.
Exactly. I'm looking forward to Cody wrestling Dom only because I've seen this man wrestle with a torn pec, and I feel like he can wrestle under any circumstance. I feel like I'd say a few people could do that, but he's one of the few, and he's got a cute dog. Oh my God, I want that dog.
Yeah, the Pharaoh alert from Monday Night Raw. Pharaoh making his Raw debut. Advantageous that he was really close to home, obviously, with Raw being in Savannah this last week. Hey, near our neck of the woods.
But I'm looking forward to this match. I don't think it's going to be like my favorite match to watch, but it's going to be one you want to sit there and see how it goes.
Well, you look at the matches that you had set up here, and the rest of the members. Cody's biggest issue, short of Brock, obviously, has been the Judgment Day.
Mm-hmm.
But Rhea obviously is not going to be his opponent. Damien's already in Money in the Bank. We'll see him here in a little bit. And then Finn 14 Stitches over here has himself a relatively big match at Money in the Bank. Again, more on his match as well. So it seemed like Dom was kind of the one that was sitting out, very similar to the way that it was Priest that was sitting out at WrestleMania. Now obviously we found out, a couple of weeks later exactly why Priest was setting out, because he was getting set up for the big match with Bunny at Backlash in Puerto Rico. I can still hear the pop. I'm still not sure my ears have recovered. And the Demon Diva, thank you so much for helping me through that event and everything else, because that was insanity to say the least. But ultimately, you end up, looking at this particular event, I can already see the gears turning.
You don't gotta call me out like that.
Ultimately, you needed to find a way to get Cody on the card. Especially if you're going to have this huge international-based event. You obviously sent him to Saudi to take on Brock. So now you're sitting here and looking at a way to get Cody on the card. And I would say at the halfway point of this year, before we get to our picks, you know, because the halfway point of the year is this upcoming Saturday, right at Money in the Bank. Would you, right now, Dom is heel of the year at the moment? He's in the conversation, at least.
He's in the conversation.
I would say he's number 2 behind Roman. Roman still to me is like
The heel.
yeah. So
Well, you know, hard to argue with that. Let's move to our picks here. Alyssa, you'll start this one off.
This man to beat everybody else, broken and everything. We're going Cody.
Cody?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to be the one to go on the limb. I'm going to go with Dominik. And the reason why I say that is because I think this is that moment where I think Brock's finally going to come back out and he's going to answer. I think, you know, definitely some interference from, you know, Rhea because she doesn't have a match. So I definitely think Rhea's going to make her presence known and try to even the playing field. But honestly, I think this is going to be that thing where, you know, ref's back's going to be turned. Brock's going to make his move. And Dominik to get him the huge heel win he needs so he can spend the next 6 months gloating about how he beat Cody Rhodes one-on-one. This would be the great thing that you can give him for that heel push. So I'm going to call the upset here. I'm going Dominik Mysterio.
That's funny. I feel it. I feel it in my bone.
I would have to say I've been riding the Cody train since he's been back.
Toot.
Exactly. And I'm not getting off this ride. I'm not getting off this train.
She enjoys that ride.
Until these wheels fall off, okay? So I feel like it'd be a great match, but everybody knows I have a love for Cody. I'm pulling for Cody. And yes, I feel like there's going to be some distractions, but I feel like Cody's going to have something.
He always finds a way.
I feel like he's going to have something in his back pocket. I feel like he's been looking at the playbooks and the videos, so I feel like he's prepared. He just, even though the broken arm is what got y'all fooled, that's what got everybody fooled. Don't be fooled now.
Well, the idea is that Cody Rhodes has been playing this whole I'm undefeatable unless I'm facing Roman, which is basically the story of just about everybody else on the roster. But the broken arm at least leaves open a slight amount of vulnerability in terms of, you know, the other opponents. But officially taking Cody.
Of course.
Got it. I just wanted to confirm.
Oh,
You've got to let the people know. And again, got an opportunity to get in your votes yourself, so definitely take the time to go to our community page and, you know, cast your votes. They don't go official until the bell rings for that particular match. And right now, I think we've got about 200, 300 votes on each one so far. So we'll see if it continues. But we're going to move to match number 3, our second championship match of the evening, and it will be for the Intercontinental Championship as the undefeated Ring General Gunther will defend against a longtime rival coming back from injury in Matt Riddle.
Oh, that's cold.
I'll bet it is. Gunther, you know, I mean, what can you say about the man? I mean, the guy has absolutely destroyed every person in his path. He has yet to be defeated one-on-one since making his, I guess, re-debut as Gunther. You know, his only losses being in either tag team matches or the Royal Rumble, where he was the last person eliminated after well over an hour. Suffice to say, the future's bright. And I think it can go without saying that Gunther's, you know, trajectory is eventually he is going to be the World Heavyweight Champion, or he's going to be the Undisputed Champion. I don't doubt for a moment that it's not a matter of if but when.
Yeah.
But at this stage, in order for him to get there, at some point, he's got to take a loss. He has to drop this title. The question is, in front of the London crowd, where Gunther is actually going to probably be cheered, you know, in a rare twist against the American Riddle, you know, is this going to be where they swerve everybody and Riddle gets what would probably be the biggest win of his career up to this stage in WWE?
He's got to get past some chops, buddy. He's got to get past some chops.
Boy, he's going to be flipping like Ricochet.
Exactly.
Call him
like
pancake, boy.
good pancake. Good pancake. Good pancake.
What you mean?
Bad pancake?
Good pancake.
Good pancake.
Oh my gosh.
So, you know, I mean, and of course, you know, Riddle coming in, still injured from his previous attacks from Imperium. Just everything screams Gunther having a huge advantage here. I mean, even at 100%, I still would say Gunther would have been the heavy favorite, but now seems like more than ever. But is that like the perfect prelude to a potential swerve? We'll start with Kia.
So Riddle is just now returning from injury. With all love in the world, I feel like this man stays snake bitten.
True.
And
Ha! Da, 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 da. All I'm missing is the hat.
yeah, exactly. And it's nothing because we know I like Riddle, we do. But honestly, Gunther has been here literally day in and day out, defending his title and doing what he's supposed to do, and he's cutting excellent promos with or without Kaiser and Ludwig. And my thing is, again, you gotta get past those chops.
She loves putting the names together. Kaiser and Ludwig are the same person.
Okay, anyway, don't mind me. Again, it's the old person brain. Don't mind me. So
Giovanni Vinci.
Oh, yeah, okay, the money man. Okay, either way, you gotta get past them chops, buddy. And I feel like he's gonna put you back on the shelf with like a couple of chops and then you're gone. My thing is, I wish Riddle all the best. And I hope that he can actually get through this match in one piece. But in my head, I do not see that.
He's in trouble.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I see, like, you know how his shoes fly off when he's in the ring? His hat.
Tipping him out his shoes.
Boy, I feel like he's gonna be flying like his shoes all over that ring when Gunther gets a hold of him.
Jesus, Alyssa.
That's pretty accurate. I'll be the one to say it. I don't know what it is, y'all, but I love a dominant champion. So all the people who make everybody else's gears grind, I love them. So like Gunther, I love Gunther. I love what he's doing. I like what he brings to the ring. I like that he can sit there. He ain't got to talk all that mess. He don't have to sit over there and go back and forth with you. He's just gonna be like, all right, meet me in the ring then. Yep. And talk to this chop. Thank you very much. I don't have many responses to the chop. All I usually see is but that's neither here nor there.
Anybody want to have anybody who wants that? We can turn that into like a text tone or something.
I'll do it again. Don't worry,
Jeff.
But
she looks better doing it.
Oh my god! But no, I like Gunther. I like what he brings. I like that he's really like. That's fine, but I'm gonna leave it on the ring. I'm gonna leave it in the ring, and. It don't get better than that for me.
And that's exactly his mindset is, not just Gunther, but also Imperium's entire mindset of being, the ring is sacred. We're tired of people coming in and making this, he wants to bring the wrestling back to professional wrestling. Yes, it's a sports entertainment business. Yes, part of it is talking the talk, but he wants to walk the walk. And that's what he cares about the most of anything else. And, he gives you that whole mindset of being old school. That used to be how wrestling was. If you go back to the 60s, 70s, it was two really big dudes chopping and beating slapping the mess out of each other. That used to be how things went back then. So Gunther really brings that old style, and then also, like I said earlier, adding in that fact that it's in London, giving him that European audience that's going to be behind him. Don't get me wrong, I think Riddle's still going to get a good positive pop. But I think Gunther is going to have a larger following and audience in his favor than he would in a normal setting, very similar to the audience that him and Sheamus had in what we deemed our match of the year last year. Ended up being super close in vote. But it was, just anytime you get in the ring, you're not going to see any level of, it's going to be 2 minutes and then it's over. It's not going to be that. Gunther is going to take his time and he's going to enjoy whooping the mess out of whomever is in front of him. I'll start the...
Do you feel like there's going to be interference from both sides? Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn?
Considering they've got a match the night before, I'd be curious to see what the result from SmackDown would be, because remember Owens and Sammy have to defend against Pretty Deadly the night before. You wonder if Imperium gets involved in that, and then does it directly result in something here? So it absolutely could play a role. But I'll start this one off with it being the third pick. I can't pick against Gunther right now. And of all the people to end over year-long Intercontinental Championship reign, you're now going into the conversations of him approaching that Roman Reigns-esque level, maybe not to the extent of the numbers, but in terms of the dominance. And just right now, it's not going to be Riddle that's going to be the one to stop this. I don't know who it's going to be yet. I don't see him losing it by pinfall or submission. I see him losing it in some multi-man match or some ladder match or something like that, where, he still looks protected. He's not going to lose a one-on-one. I can't pick against Gunther right now.
I would say Gunther, only because, again, Riddle has been snake bitten. He's come back, and he's been here for a few weeks, but Gunther's been here day in, day out. So that's my pick. Honestly, and if Gunther has to go up against anybody, please put him up against Roman Reigns. I'd want to see that.
I mean, it's only a matter of time, but I mean, that's
wanna see
built.
that.
That's built for either WrestleMania or SummerSlam. That's not built for any other dates other than that.
I was about to say I'm also going Gunther, but I'm gonna say it's gonna be a lot closer than we think.
You think Riddle
I
hangs
think
with
Riddle's
him?
gonna hang with him for a good little bit, but I think eventually he's gonna take that 5th or 6th chop and he's gonna be over there.
Weed smoke.
Shut your mouth.
I
You
couldn't.
baby kid.
So Gunther across the board here.
Shut your mouth.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, so we move to our 4th match, and this will head back to, apparently we went everything on Kia's side to open things up, so Alyssa will get the last 2. But we're going to move to our first of the Money in the Bank ladder matches.
Nice.
And this one is on the women's side, as we will have the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. Of course, you know, for those who are unfamiliar with the rules of the ladder match, it's very simple. You climb for the briefcase, which Kia will grab now shortly. Ooh, shiny. White one for the women, and the men use a green one. But at the end of the day, the person who is able to successfully climb the ladder first and grab the briefcase earns themselves a championship match against any champion of their choosing at any time of their choosing over the next calendar year. Now, historically, that means that right now, I think the average is about 78, 79% of the people who have tried to use it over the history of the Money in the Bank contract have succeeded, but the women are perfect in their events, as right now they are a perfect 7 for 7 in terms of cashing in Money in the Bank, including 4 cashing in on the same night they won it. So this has been one that, for me personally, I've been kind of bothered by that, because for the last 3 years in a row, the Money in the Bank contract winner cashed in within 24 hours of using it, because you look at Bayley cashing in the night of, Alexa Bliss cashed in less than an hour after she won it. Then you had Nikki ASH cash in the next night on Monday Night Raw. You know, and then you had last year's champion Liv Morgan, who cashed in on Ronda Rousey about an hour and a half. Remember, I was trying to get a hold of it. I was trying to get my phone. I'm like, get your phone, get your phone, get your phone. Never mind.
Late.
There's the music. It's
It
too
was
late. She's
already
already
done.
on her way out. Liv's already on her way out. Too late. But so I sincerely hope that this is the year in which, you know, maybe the women hold out for a little bit, because only Carmella's done it, you know, for holding it for a long period of time. She held it for over 280 days. So we'll see. But 6 competitors. You've got both members of Damage Control that are active right now in Bayley and Io Sky, Zelina Vega, the man Becky Lynch, and then Zoey Stark and the WWE Hall of Famer Trish Stratus competing in her very first ladder match.
Yes,
Alyssa. Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Either one.
Alyssa, you can go ahead.
I'm sitting here like really wrecking my brain
Gimme.
on like how they want to go with this, because like I feel like Trish is too obvious. Like she's never been in one.
Hall of Fame career.
Yeah,
She doesn't need this.
exactly.
But yet,
That's all the more reason why
it may
they
be
would.
the only way you can realistically put a title back on her again.
That's true.
At,
When you
at
think
her
about it like
older
that.
age.
I was like, do I want to go Zoe? But I was like, no, she's really just riding her not
Coattails.
coattail, but like not to be rude, but like she's right now getting like that one-on-one mentorship stage. So are you really ready to put a title on her yet? No, not really. I'm thinking Io Sky and Bayley, they haven't been able to beat really anybody. Like, with all due respect, when they were going against Bianca, they was getting whooped. But that's neither here nor there.
Hey now.
And then I'm like, Zelina got a good pop, but that was in Puerto Rico, you know? So I'm just like,
And it's good that they're trying to keep Zelina's push going.
I like it.
But you can feel it losing a little steam. You know, the LWO helped, but for her and for Santos, you know, you can kind of feel the steam kind of running out. So, you know, this would go a long way. And also Zelina, another one of those people that, you know, could benefit from something like this, because that may be the only way you realistically could get a title back on her.
over Rhea, and then maybe Asuka.
Not without Money in the Bank helping her.
I was about to say that'd be the only way I could see it, unless she's gonna flip the script and go down to
NXT, because they did say any champion, you know, so you could possibly go, you know,
I want to be a tag team.
Well, I don't know if you're going to go eyeball Tiffany Stratton down in NXT, but you know, I mean, it's not unrealistic. Kia?
So like, I know like feel like Bayley and Io have not been on the same wavelength ever since, like, Io has been trying to go for a title of her own by herself with no help. Bayley keeps stepping in her way, stepping on her toes, and has to, like, literally pull her foot out of her mouth to correct the situation. I don't see this being any different between, at this point, it's every woman for herself. Zoey, I don't feel like she's ready. She just got here. I'm not saying anything to be offensive or insulting. I feel like, you're right. She is following in Trish's footsteps. She's learning from Trish, who is probably one of the best people to learn from outside of probably, like, Lita or Michelle McCool. In a situation like this, you're pretty much soaking everything up like a sponge. Bayley, I honestly do not want to see her win it again. I'm not trying to be offensive. I prefer to see Io win it, or I prefer to see Becky win it, or Zelina. That would give her a good pop. That would give her something to go against. Maybe if she wins it, she can go up against and she can try to go again against Rhea, and hopefully that time she would win. So I feel like her push has been great, but this again will put her over the thing and put her over the top, and she should go for it.
One more note here before we get to our picks here. Considering it's in London, basically Becky's backyard, but Becky is also the one that essentially has made an enemy out of every other person in that ring. So Becky is the one person. I mean, yeah, you could say Zelina by a certain extent, but Zelina's also been kind of one that's just like, hey, I'm here, I earned my spot, I don't care if I got any friends, whatever, I'm going to find a way to get it done. But essentially Becky understands it's her against the world, and she even talked about, I'm either going to blaze a glory or I'm going to go down in flames, but I'll take a few people with me in the process. So do you home crowd, you think it's going to be behind Becky mostly?
I mean, they will, but that doesn't mean she's going to win. It's nothing against Becky because she's a great competitor. So, yeah, even though she's going to be in her backyard a little bit, I just don't see it happening.
Well, speaking of who is going to win, Kia?
I'd like to see Io. Honestly, she's been trying. She's done everything. And I know she's been taking these L's, but I feel like Bayley is the reason she keeps taking all these L's. I feel like, again, Bayley is literally in her way. So my pick is going to be Io Sky.
I would love to see it. She had Bianca beat at Backlash. That was easily, I'd argue right now, that's my match of the year at the moment. It's definitely in the conversation. So Io, Alyssa?
As much as this is about to bother me, I'm going to go with Zelina.
Zelina?
Yeah.
Okay. It's definitely the dark horse, but
normally when I take little gutsy picks like this, they normally pay off. So
I can promise you, you're definitely in the minority on this one. Okay. This is the one you take to Vegas and put your money down on.
I have 2 words for you: Austin Theory.
Hey, it panned out last year, so what are you gonna do, right? When I sat down and started thinking about this one earlier this week as to who I was going to pick, originally my mind went with Trish because I thought that, again, older age, realistically, but that was when Bianca was champion. Mm-hmm. Now that the titles are either on Rhea and Asuka, possibly Charlotte by the time you get to this match, which of course screams, quick cash in, because that's what Charlotte is unfortunately known for outside of her long reigns. But I think my mindset has changed on it. I could see Bayley being the one that's at the top of the rung. She's standing there. She's going to pose for a minute, and she's going to have briefcase in hand. And then I see Io kicking her off the ladder and claiming it for herself, ending her push against Damage Control and finally saying, "You're not screwing me out of this." So I'm going to agree with Kia on this one. I like Io, because I think not only does she make the most sense in terms of the storyline, but also at the same time, she has the highest upward trajectory as to someone who could actually use it versus someone like Nikki 2 years ago, or Liv last year, where you knew the reign was going to be a short one.
I feel like, and here's my thing, for anybody that watched NXT or has been watching NXT, when Io was there, I'm interested to see what she's going to do when she gets to the top of the ladder and she grabs the suitcase, because we saw what she did at NXT for the PLE when she got briefcase. Would you stop?
We are way over time.
So I want to see what she's going to do, because she did it with the trash can when she jumped off the steel cage for that match.
Exactly. All right, let's move into our 4th match, and finally Alyssa gets to bust out some gold over here. Sort of. We don't have the right one, but we're going to make it work, but it is for the World Heavyweight Championship, as Seth Freakin Rollins will defend the newly minted WWE World Heavyweight Championship against Mr. 14 Staples over here in Finn Balor. Now, as we mentioned on Plate Exchange the other day, of course, we don't have the belts yet. Frankly, no one does other than the actual people who have them. So, we're doing the best we can. Luckily, we do own Big Gold here. Big Gold is absolutely my favorite, and also between us, the only one I can wear. But we're going to let that part slide because, hey, I got a big gut. But I tell you one thing, that strap was built for big folks. You can go into your office for a second. Jeez. But this, this is a rivalry that spans back almost over 7 years. These two battled for the first Universal Championship when it first came out back in 2015, 2016. And ultimately it was Finn Balor that went over to become the first Universal Champion, but he had to give it up the next night due to tearing a ligament in his shoulder. At the end result, when Seth came out to basically feel like it should be just handed to him, instead of congratulating Finn on the victory, instead he chuckled and laughed at him. Now we're talking about just left the Shield architect, in the Authority's hip pocket, Seth Rollins. I think he has definitely aged up and matured since then. But also I think that, the competitor in him hasn't necessarily regretted that decision. He's like, hey, if you wanted to, be champion longer, don't tear up your shoulder while you're wrestling.
And he's still taking shots. He took shots. What day was it he took shots? He's like, I've held the title longer than you've had your title or whatever.
Even if I lose to Priest tonight, my title reign's still longer than his. So, I mean, and Finn feels like, he's kind of become the punching bag, not just of Judgment Day, but also of WWE itself. This used to be a guy who, frankly, was a feared competitor. You knew he was going to be someone that was going to be a tough out. And even when, even without using his demon form, he still is an absolutely, I'd argue top 5, top 10 competitor in the world today. And you saw it by him successfully beating the NXT champion in Carmelo Hayes. Granted, obviously, a significant experience advantage in terms of Finn, but Carmelo absolutely was at the top of his game, and Finn was able to beat him soundly in a few minutes, definitely showing that, not only does Carmelo still have a lot to learn, but also Finn is still up there in the top echelon. Alyssa, we'll start with you on this one, but essentially at this stage, you look at Seth. This is the moment we've been talking about for a year and a half on our show, with him finally getting rewarded for putting over Cody, for putting over Roman, for putting over so many other people, and what, he had the most losses on the roster last year, yet still was Superstar of the Year. That's high praise from a very strong competitor and a strong locker room.
Yeah.
But, Finn also looks like he's got something to prove here, and also will have the home field advantage here with the match being in London.
That's true. Home advantage is good and great and all, but it's Seth freaking Rollins.
SFR.
It's Seth freaking Rollins.
Need you
this
say
man?
more.
This man doesn't even. This man literally said, and I quote, like,
Doesn't have to say
he's
anything.
over everywhere. He's over everywhere. They took the last bit of his intro out, and that mug stands there like this. I don't see that with anybody else. Nobody else.
Because that tells you how over he is. He's like, he knows the crowd, and he can work the crowd to do exactly what he needs them to do.
Literally.
And it's going to work no matter where he is. You're never going to get dead
He don't even have to cue
silence.
them anymore. Like, he used to be like, and you'll sing my song. He don't even have to do that no more. He's over. And I think for the same reason we said they were going to put it on him, I don't think they're ready to take it off of him yet. You can't put that mess on me for like a month and then be like, thanks for the last year and a half, Yaga. Like, no. I think there will be good bangers between the two of them, but I don't think it ends right here. I don't.
Yeah.
I feel like Finn has this chip on his shoulder, and he's right to have it. He is justified.
absolutely.
He got injured 7 years ago.
Chip on his shoulder, staples in his head.
He came up from NXT. He was, I think, the first one that year that came up first round from NXT, and literally was able to get a shot that no one else would have gotten. And of course, it was against Seth freaking Rollins. How great is that? honestly. So for me, I feel like he still has that chip. I feel like he had to relinquish it the next day or the next night on Raw, and it was just heartbreaking to him. Now, mind you, if y'all saw that match, he popped his stuff back in place and kept it going for another 20 minutes on top of that. That is a G right there. I'm not going to lie to you. But I feel like Seth, you're right. Nobody has to cue. He doesn't have to cue nobody. He just stands there. He looks good in his Ronald McDonald shoes or devil horns or whatever else he's got to put on.
Bowling Alley 3000.
That's fine.
The big bowl of 3000s. Let's go.
Woo! Sorry, Seth, but we love your fashion, so that's why we got to talk about it.
Couldn't be me.
I'm just saying, I feel like these two will put on a clinic. I feel like they'll go blow for blow, pound for pound. I feel like Seth is literally still throwing that in his face that, hey, even though you won, I came and when you relinquished it, I literally laughed in your face. And I'm going to keep laughing in your face to prove a point. To see, and I feel like he's trying to get into Finn's head and live rent-free.
That's what ML does.
And I feel like
he's good at it.
I feel like someone's having to talk Finn down because I feel like, yeah, he's got a chip on his shoulder. And I feel like, again, he's justified in that. And I'm not mad at that.
It is what it is.
And like Alyssa stated, I don't see them taking the title off of Seth. Seth has done everything and more in his power to do the right thing. So what are you saying? I gave you a nice long title run with the celebratory. Here's this title. What, to take it off you?
I've been here tired. Please stop playing with
That
me.
is a slap in the face to me, and I don't. That is laughing in his face, and I don't see it really happening.
So it sounds like we've got both of their picks made, but let's just go ahead and get them officially on the books.
Oh, Seth freaking Rollins.
Even with the Finn shirt on?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Seth?
I mean, this is one I didn't want to have to, like, make a pick on, but again, Seth has done everything in his power, and I feel like the more you have Finn lose to Seth, the angrier he's going to get, and then at some point, if Seth is still holding that title, say, 6 months to a year later, I feel like at some point when Finn gets to that point, he's going to come back in the ultimate demon form with purple and black, and he's going to rip that title right off of Seth.
That's what I say. I have no problem with him being the one to end it. I just don't think it's now.
Just not in the first run.
Yeah.
And I got to agree with that as well. I think Seth is going to retain here. I do think that the moment is set up for Seth Rollins to get into SummerSlam as the World Heavyweight Champion.
Oh.
Now, I would like to say that even if, you can get enough people that are deserving of the title, because of the fact that the Roman Reigns hold over the WWE Championship for well over a year on Raw, in turns, I'd like to see, a number of, people hold the championship. I wouldn't mind seeing a steady rotation of people as long as the time that they hold it is actually meaningful.
Yeah.
Don't just give someone a 2-day reign just because, get somebody a win, but as long as it's meaningful, then let's make it work. But otherwise, pick your champion, which it looks like you have, and then run with it. But I will go Seth as well.
I mean, all the love in the world. I love you, Finn, but not.
She wore the shirt and everything.
I know.
2 to go. And now we will go ahead and hit our other Money in the Bank ladder match, which Alyssa has to her left. You're right. But this is for the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. Big Greenie over here. A 7-person ladder match again, with the winning person earning the right to face any champion at any time of their choosing for a championship match. Now you look at some of the people that are in here, and we've got a lot of people that have not competed in Money in the Bank before, such as LA Knight, Damian Priest, Butch, Santos Escobar. But then you look at some other names, that are in this match that have established themselves as people who, really don't stretch past the mid-card. And that would be in the names of, say, right now in his current status, Shinsuke Nakamura and Ricochet. And then you add in the Maverick, Logan Paul, who, just because, hey, I'm Logan Paul, he gets in. And I can just picture the heel heat that's going to come if Logan Paul somehow wins this and then he cashes in on Seth Rollins, maybe later that night. Can you imagine if Logan Paul walks out of Money in the Bank as the World Heavyweight Champion and you end up with Logan Paul and Seth Rollins at SummerSlam, knowing, they were already good enough to, go at each other at a major live event already, so it's not like it's impossible.
You'll never hear the end of it, and nobody will ever hear the end of it at all if he does that. And I'm saying, I would like to have Seth beat the dog mess out of this man, because how are you gonna just leave and then come back and expect it to win something? What? How are you gonna come back and expect to actually win something that don't belong to you? It's like you're not earning it. It's not like what are you doing for real? I don't.
She needs to go to the bathroom.
Okay. I don't know.
This is the problem when you do things live. If Mother Nature calls, I'm sorry, you gotta answer that call.
For me, I feel like Logan Paul's great, good and all, and he's been putting on some bangers and he's taking this business very seriously, but you can't come and leave and come and leave and no. That's not how it works. You want to take it seriously, you stick around, you stay, you work day in and day out like the rest of the roster to do this. But at the same time, I feel like a lot of these competitors, I would love to see cash in. I would love to see them win the briefcase. I could hear different people winning and then their music start playing. I feel like for the men, I don't think they would cash in right away.
Men typically don't, there's
They
yet
like
to be
hold on to it and
there's yet to be a same night cash in now. The earliest one was, I want to say, Edge 5 days later.
Yeah, but that was 5
on
days.
his second one.
That was still like almost a week though, 2 days shy.
Mm-hmm.
But
So, you look at a match like this, though, and the one key thing that has changed from any of the other previous years that this has been done is now WWE has acknowledged that after Austin Theory's failed attempt to win the United States Championship from Seth Rollins last year, that the Money in the Bank briefcase now is no longer for necessarily just a World Championship match. You now can take on any champion at any time. You also have the right to choose a partner and can go for the tag titles if that's what you want to do. That is 100% up to the contract holder, up to a year. Now, to me, kind of makes you wonder why you wouldn't go for the world title, but then again, you look at last year and you look who was holding it, and you wonder why Austin stepped aside and I ain't going after Roman. Hell no.
But to each is their own. I feel like Theory was smart in that regard, so look at him now. He's still holding the title.
True. That's true.
To each is their own when it comes to who you're going after and why and whatever your reason it may be. I feel like it's great. Honestly, I would like to see Butch or Shinsuke. I feel like Shinsuke deserves this. I know, and I said, Logan Paul, you came and you left, but Shinsuke has done more than enough. He's been around long enough to deserve to get the Money in the Bank and to cash in on whoever he wants to cash in on.
We've said multiple times that Shinsuke should have been a multiple-time world champion by now.
And it hadn't happened. Tag, but that's I feel like he's made for the higher echelon, as you would say.
Agreed. And then you look at, the mogul that's out there that is Logan Paul, he's going to bring eyes to a match like this, which means, regardless of whether he is victorious in this match or not, Logan Paul is going to bring people that are going to come watch this match that maybe would not do so. And when you're looking at mid-card competitors such as Ricochet, Santos Escobar, Butch, even Damian Priest to a certain extent, this is going to put eyes on them that normally would not be there.
He's got a large following. I keep forgetting this man has a large following, too.
Oh, yeah, significantly. So, I'm not sitting here saying Logan Paul is the correct answer in terms of who needs to win it, but what I am saying is that having him in the match is not a bad thing. Having him in the match allows for them to be able to have more people keeping eyes on people that maybe short of LA Knight would not have had this much attention on them in terms of their popularity. Alyssa, we got a minute before a pick, so she disappeared.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah.
She probably... And then she's a teapot.
Short and spout, tip her over and pour her out. Is that how the song goes?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
Now...
Short and stout, but close enough.
I made my own lyrics, okay?
We do that all the time.
Like I said, when it came to the other one, I just kind of have to shift through. So we got Logan Paul, which would be, of course, the one that everybody's going to think. LA Knight, I like him. I mean, right now, throughout the different venues we've been to, I mean, it gets a great pop.
It does.
So I think it'd be a wonderful place to put him. I know Santos is in there. Again, I feel like it's kind of similar with Zelina. It's kind of had a really good push. Now it's kind of okay, now how do we continue it.
Wouldn't it be great if they both won on the same night, winning?
I mean, that would be great.
They were talking about that with LWO holding both of them.
Yeah, there you go.
And then I think I see Shinsuke. I like Shinsuke. I mean, I like Shinsuke. And then I'm so sorry, y'all. I really cannot see that.
But you cured that today.
I'm about to say, yeah.
We're already past time.
Sorry. Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, you're up first, so.
Oh, schnight. Okay.
So you only
I
know.
already had my ball to the wall pick, so I'm gonna pick who I really think it's gonna be. And I'm gonna go LA Knight.
Yeah.
The pop he's had. Come on now, it only makes sense.
What I've learned in my history of the Money in the Bank ladder match is the person. Well, no, is the person who should get it and the one that to every person in the audience, from the youngest little kid all the way up to the oldest fan, every person there says this person should have it. It never goes on them. Ever. Go back and look. There has never been one time where the fan favorite has been the one that ultimately came up with it. That's why I couldn't pick Becky Lynch earlier in the women's one, and it just doesn't make. Liv was not the fan favorite going into that one. There were several other people. Liv was a popular choice, but she was not the fan pick going into that one. So I mean, everything screams LA Knight for him to win this one. And everything, if you can't pick Knight, everything screams Logan Paul. It just makes sense for one of those two to be the one to get it. And yet, I don't see Paul in this match for him winning this. I see Logan Paul in this to have him set up his next match, maybe against LA Knight. I could see the two of them having mic wars for the next 6 to 8 weeks heading into SummerSlam. So my pick is the guy we mentioned earlier, the person who should have been world champion by now, multiple times. I'm going Shinsuke Nakamura to win this one. I think he's built for a match like this. That's no disrespect to people like Butch or Ricochet, who could absolutely do this as well, or Santos. But I feel like he is the one that makes the most sense and is the one that has the capability of being able to cash in, not for just a mid-card title, but also for a world title as well. So the threat is there across the board. So I like Nakamura.
I'm going to have to piggyback off of that because I feel like, again, you're right. He should have been champion multiple times over. I'm not talking about middle of the row, middle of the pack. I'm talking about, like, the high echelon, higher titles. I feel like he should have gone for those and been gone for those. And he should have done it multiple times over. I mean, like, why? Why haven't you? But what Shinsuke comes to this match, is it like heel Shinsuke or is it face Shinsuke? That's the thing. He's got us with the face, but I'm hoping heel Shinsuke would come. I feel like he would get it at that point.
So Nakamura as well?
Oh, yeah, Nakamura, most definitely.
Interesting. Which means it's going to be LA Knight, right?
As long as you know.
Let's just call it. Or is it going to be, let's just call it, it's Ricochet.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, little ball for the win.
Little ball for the win. He'll backflip off the ladder and everything.
The light-skinned Caillou. Let's go, boy.
Oh, my God. Wow.
This is why I had to go pee, y'all. Because I got him in me. Come on.
Too much?
Just kidding.
I'm going to let y'all know. I feel like you probably be one of the few people that could say that.
I'm light-skinned.
Exactly.
Right. Well, one to go. Main event. We've stalled as long as we can.
I'm excited about this one. I'm Thea hailing this one right now.
Yeah! Bloodline Civil War.
I am loving.
Nothing more needs to really be said, so we won't. We'll just sit here and stare at you for 6 minutes.
Oh, no, I can't sit here and stare. I gotta talk to you. Can we say Jay's award-winning Grammy
I'm out too. Pow!
Right, like he had
that kick for days.
He like for me.
So did Roman.
I feel Roman. We don't know this man. He's just sitting in the middle of this couch. Okay?
Just kidding.
So in my response, Jay over the last 2.5 years has put everybody in their field with, I'm going to leave, I'm not going to do this, I'm trying to make everybody equal, neutral, bring everybody together as a family, so forth and so on. I feel like Sammy talking to him. Now, funny thing is, Sammy's been saying this for the longest time. I feel like Sammy kind of infiltrated the family and got pushed out by Paul, but hey, there's neither here nor there. But at this point, I feel like everything that we're hearing from Jimmy came from Sammy. So I feel like Jimmy was the one that was sitting here saying, no, you can't do this. You can't listen to Sammy. He's not family, so forth and so on. But now, did Jimmy really listen to Sammy and say, this is what I've seen, this is what I know, this is what's happened? And even when I was hurt and injured, I was at home watching on the sideline. But I liked how Jay turned and like literally started using government names. Joshua.
Be like your brother, Joshua.
Prom Prince
King.
over here. Prom King.
What's that? I was like,
Player of the year.
Not
most
bringing up
likely
the
to
past.
succeed.
Right. He had me thinking, oh my God, he's literally going to turn and side with Roman. And Roman back there getting his 7 chuckles in. And then here he go, you out and I'm out too. Pow! Yeah, I love it. Keep that energy going. Woo! We the ones.
The reality is the reason why you can get this much hype for a match like this is because for the first time, I mean, and I've been watching for 30 years, you know, and there are people who have been watching for longer than I have. This is without, wow.
Huh?
I'm deaf. I'm blind. I'm not deaf, okay?
I forgot you could hear.
I wear glasses, not a hearing aid, Mom.
Oh.
Either way, without question, and I challenge anyone in our chat to give me an answer, and I'll sit here and wait, okay?
We'll wait.
No better story has been written in the annals of not just WWE, but I'm going to say wrestling, period, than the Bloodline storyline since Roman took the title, got Paul Heyman, and ultimately started bringing his cousins in. This has been a roller coaster ride that you want to be sat every calendar Friday and occasionally Monday to watch. And now you're going to see it come all the way back around where now the seeds that Roman planted have now got to be sown. And it's time for the Usos to say, okay, Roman, and they've even said it's like, we're still family. We still can salvage this. But you've disrespected us. At this point, it's time for you to take your licks. This is not about the bloodline. This is not about, this is exactly it. This is about receipts we are owed in terms of the number of times that you've abused us, and we're not doing it anymore. So at this point, we're going to kick some sense into you. And maybe, you know, like you see with two best friends who need to go back out behind a bar and they need to beat the crap out of each other for a little while. Or you see two brothers in a household that need to go out and they need to fight for a little while, but then they come back up and they're better for it because of it. I don't know if this is salvageable. I don't know if the splits and the cracks are too much, but at this stage, you know, this fight has been brewing for months. You knew it was going to happen, and it's here. And now it's time to put up or shut up.
You know who I hear in my head? I hear Mushu. Dishonor. Dishonor on you.
Write this down. Write this down. Dishonor on you. Dishonor on your cow. Dishonor. Stop.
Alyssa, go for it.
Okay, so y'all know how I feel about Roman, and if you don't,
go back
where have you been?
Honestly, at
Under
this
a
point,
rock.
I'll start lifting pebbles for you. I got you. Don't worry. But no, I love Roman. I do. And yeah. Hey, how you doing? I awkwardly sit there like this. But no, and also
you said bring the energy.
In all seriousness, I saw it coming, and I hate that. And they did everything to pull out all the stops to be like Joshua and all that. But having a sibling, like with your twin, me and my sister are really close like that, I saw it coming from a mile away. He's sitting over here. He had my back. He was the one that gave me all these opportunities. You've been over here hating. At the end of the day, your brother is your brother.
Right.
Your sister is your sister.
Exactly.
And you're going to have that back. Now, a cousin is close. Cousin, uncle, whatever you want to say. They close. But you got a little rat in your ear, so you kind of stay over there. Bombastic side eye. But, I mean, at the end of the day, I saw it coming. You don't pick somebody else over it. So when you saw, or when I saw them lining that up, I wasn't shocked at all. And I hated it because he had to turn on Roman, but hey.
But he's the one that's been trying to hold it together. He's been, to me, he's been the glue. He's been the glue in all of this. But hey, it is what it is, and
Hey, man.
I'm sorry for you. And this is the second time they've gotten kicked over like 2 months.
I'd just been tearing this man up.
And
he
Solo.
look good doing it too. He'd be over there just flying around his hair.
That hair, yes.
You know, and it's interesting because I want to get this last part in before we officially get to our picks. I mean, we've talked extensively about Uso. You've brought up Roman. But what about Solo in all of this? Solo has been the one that's been caught in the middle. Those are his brothers.
I feel like he's conflicted.
Well, he's very conflicted because those are his brothers. The people that he was raised by, the people that, these are the two, male figures that he looked up to outside of his father and his uncle. And he's, of course, raised by that great NOI family.
Mm-hmm.
But, it was, Jay and Jimmy are the two that, were there most of the time along with Cousin Roman. But also, he's got a job to do. He's, the tribal elders have said, hey, you work for the tribal chief. And as long as Roman is the chief, that's who you work for. That is who your job is to go fight for.
Now, what if
And
the
so
scripts are flipped? And what if Jay becomes a tribal chief?
Well, I think we're a step ahead on that one. If Jay becomes it, then you wonder, does his loyalties change at that point?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the one thing that Solo hasn't established yet: is he royal to Roman or is he royal to the title that he holds within the family? So if Jay becomes the tribal chief, does he then start defending Jay? Because that's your thing. It's kind of like defending the king or defending the pharaoh. It doesn't matter if that's the person that you necessarily side with, but that's your job. That's your whether you like the guy, don't like the guy, whatever, your job's to protect him. Your job is to be his fighter. And so that's, where Solo's put into the middle of all of this. So I've got to imagine that I think he's the linchpin to this whole thing. I think Roman is well capable of being able to defend himself against both Jimmy and Jay. They've been doing that all their lives. I think it's Solo that will be the one that ultimately will be, really the pin to decide which way the Civil War is going to lean. And also, of course, trying to figure out, is this just the first of many meetings, or is this the one where it's like, okay, we're going to beat the crap out of each other, and then we all going to go our separate ways. I'm going to keep going as the undisputed champion with Solo, and y'all can go and do whatever you want to do. Or does this continue on past the stage? And I think the result of this match plays a role in that.
Would you say Solo is the needle mover in this?
But and with that, fortunately, we're up to the stage now where we do have to officially make a pick, and this is where it gets tough because you have to truly, you got to think as fans of the Bloodline, we've been basically going Roman and Usos for years now, and now you got to pick against one of them at some stage. So Kia is the 7th and final choice. You're opening this one up.
Jimmy and Jay Uso. There's my pick.
The one person who's been willing to go against Roman more times, and she's been burned enough times too. So
don't call me out. They can go back and look at the videos if they want to know. I've gone against Roman.
Just saved you 6 long boobless hours.
Either way, I'm picking Jimmy and Jay or Joshua and Jonathan
Joshua
to win this match, and I hope they do. I hope they kick the dog mess out of Roman and Solo.
Usos?
The Usos, all the way. They want that smoke. I know, it's straight profit.
Did you lose your energy? You've gone real quiet.
No, it hurts me to do this right now.
Oh no.
Because WrestleMania, I cried like a baby when they lost.
Indeed she did. I think we have footage.
I was over there from the roll to the car. What do you mean? But no, in all seriousness, in order to make the Usos a more credible threat, in order to keep their stuff intact, they've got to get a good win.
Mm-hmm.
And what better way than to go over the Undisputed? What better way to go over than going over Roman Reigns? So, as much as I hate to do this, only the second time I will ever do this, I'm going Usos.
So you're going Roman to lose.
If you see this, no, you didn't. Because y'all know
this has been, and with respects, this should be the toughest one to pick. Because you're correct in the fact that if you want the Usos to be viewed as a credible threat to Roman's Undisputed Championship as the number 1 tag team, but you got to think a team is not going to conquer the singles champion. Mm-hmm. People talking GOAT status at this point in terms of Roman and his run. But that for the first time, really since he became the tribal chief and really established himself as the Universal Champion, Roman is standing there by himself, and they're planting those seeds in terms of Paul Heyman potentially being the snake in the grass, and how much of that is truth versus how much of that is the Usos trying to just put that discord and that, disbelief inside of Roman's head, because we all know he's as paranoid as you can get when he thinks that it's crumbling around him, and now he's watching it happen. Also, though, Roman wasted no time in getting this match. As soon as the Usos made their decision, it's almost as if like, hey, if Jay goes this direction, this match, I want it set. So, I still feel like it's a situation where, no, you're going to need to find a way to make both sides look strong here. You're going to find a way to be able to make both sides look powerful at the end of the day. And the reality is, Roman's biggest opponent right now is the two people that will be standing on the other side against him in the ring, and that is the Usos. But the Usos, along the way, have not only dealt with Roman Reigns recently, but also have earned themselves a lot of people who aren't exactly on their side as well. They've been arguing with Imperium. They've been arguing with Pretty Deadly. They've been arguing with a number of other teams that, eventually they're going to want to go back for tag team gold. So by turning on Roman, you made friends, but you also still have those enemies sitting there. Roman, of course, hated by all, and he's perfectly fine with that. So amidst it all, I really do feel like, the Usos will be the ultimate threat to Roman. However, it's Solo again that's been in the middle, that's been the one getting his tail handed to him week in and week out, despite his level of being the enforcer. And I feel like this will be one where the Usos potentially could have Roman beat, and then it's going to be Solo that's going to step in and protect his chief, and one of the Usos eventually is going to get taken out to the point to where Roman, in a single one-on-one, can be able to get the job done. So I will be the one that will go on the other side. I'm going to take Roman and Solo in this match to go over the Usos, only because I do feel that they will still find a way to make the Usos that credible threat without needing Roman to take a loss, especially not where they're going to be.
I was going to say, I think this is what will push him to that mega heel status.
Oh, yeah. You're going ultra mega heel. This
loss is what's going to push him to that next level.
Exactly.
I feel like they've taken out other tag teams, and like they stated in their previous promos, they're going to put them on lockdown in the Uso penitentiary.
Lockdown.
Right?
Lockdown.
Right?
I bet it's a 2-star.
Oh my god.
Couldn't stop myself. But
could not.
Either way, thank you all so much for taking the time to join us for this episode. We ran over, but that's what we do. That's what we always do. It's amazing how we can set those 6-minute timers and yet somehow still run over by, over a half hour. But it is what it is. But Money in the Bank, we're going to have another watch along. I'm going to try to get this whole 2-camera thing working here so you can see how we're doing. But ultimately, we want you guys to go enjoy the event. We have several people, including our own honorary OTRA, Paige. Welcome back. And of course, is it? Oh my goodness. Tanisha?
That's her friend.
Yeah, I know. She's the one going with her.
Hey, girls, hey!
So, we're definitely wanting to wish them a good time.
Mm-hmm.
And if you follow us on YouTube, entrance videos forthcoming. Our second straight year where the OTRAs will have a presence out there. So if you do happen to run into Paige or Tanisha, say hi. Make sure, they feel, I'd say feel welcome, but hey, they're the one hosting technically. So they can welcome us. And hey, we got passports now, so we may be there next year. But either way, this is On the Ring Apron. This was our top rope spoilers for Money in the Bank. You guys have yourself a great rest of the week. Follow us, promote us, tell everyone we're awesome. We want Markiplier level numbers at some stage in our lives, but preferably while I'm still sane enough to enjoy it. But final thoughts real quick before we head out.
So we have another TikTok live tomorrow. It's going to be me and Alyssa, and we're going to speak a little further on this whole disconnect between the family, the Usos, Roman, Solo. Mm-hmm. And there's going to probably be other topics, but this is going to be the main one. So be prepared to cut up with us, kiki with us, and just have a good time. On that note, I've got to go to the bathroom. Peace out.
Listen.
We're just going to go ahead and go to my tagline. Bye!
See y'all later.